Hey guys, welcome back to the This Is All Skate Shop YouTube channel. 2019 is finally over and the reports are in. On these papers I have the figures of the best-selling items of the year. Each brand has a few different shell types that they sell. For example, Razors has the Razors SL, which are these three skates, and they have the Razors Shift, which are these four skates. In the statistics for this year that I'm going to tell you, I will lump these three models together and call it the Razors SL, and for the Shift I'll do the same. Then Roaches has the M12 and brought out the new fifth element this year. Demskate had the Dem 908, but they also released the Dem 909, which started sales this year, so I'll include it in the list. And then you also have the USD Carbon and the Seba Street. USD has a couple of different models, the USD 7, the USD Sway, and of course the USD Aeons. So the question now is, which one of those different type of skates was the best-selling one of the year? This list will only be about aggressive skating. After that I'll name the list for freestyle skating. I'll also do frames, wheels and bearings. Let's start with some of the worst selling aggressive skates from this year. Skates that didn't even actually make it properly on the list were the Rollerblade New Jack, unfortunately, the Remedies, the USD 7, the Seba Street and the USD Carbon. Each one of those was only 2% of the sales. Then moving up the list, we see the Roaches Fifth Element, the Razors Cult, and surprisingly also a couple of Valo models. Valo is a brand that was owned by Roaches. Roaches discontinued the brand over a year ago. We still have a lot of the old models of Valo in stock, and because they are in sale, they're actually selling pretty good because they're super good skates for a low price. Then we see the Dem skates on the list, both the 909 and the 908, and now we're getting into the four most popular skates of 2019. The fourth one being the Razors Shift, the third one the Razors SL with 10% of all sales. Then the second best-selling skate is the USD Aeon with 16%, but the best-selling skate of 2019 for aggressive inline skating at our skate shop is the Roaches Majestic 12 with 19% of all the sales. So congratulations Roaches for having the best-selling skate at This Is All Skate Shop, the Roaches Majestic 12. Boom! This list is for both skates that we sell at our store as for skates that we sell online. Now let's move on to the freestyle inline skates. Aggressive skates are skates that you can grind on, and freestyle skates are skates that you are totally free with. There's no obstacles, it's just you and the road. That's why freestyle skates usually have bigger wheels. I have a whole video explaining the origins of the word freestyle and the difference between a freestyle and an aggressive skate on our page, so if you're interested in that, also check that video out after you're finished watching this one. There are so many freestyle skates on the market that we can never have all of them. For aggressive skates though, we're pretty complete. I don't think there's any one that we're missing. Are you missing one? I'm not. For freestyle skates, we only want to buy skates that are really good and pretty. So that's why you don't see those fancy fitness colors at our store, because we're kind of proud of our wall here looking pretty good. On the bottom of the list is one of the best looking inline skates of the year, and it's the Rollerblade Metro Blade. It looks like a sneaker. Too bad it didn't sell well. It's also quite expensive. And I think that the skate is actually too weak at the top. So maybe people who are really good and want to pay the money for a skate like this will want to have a skate that's more supportive. Another skate that didn't sell so good was the Fila NRK. I love it that a brand like Fila makes inline skates. I think that Fila is actually the only brand that random people who not skate actually know, so it's really valuable for us to have a brand like that in our sport. It's just that I think that they have a lot of growth ahead of them in their marketing department. I would love to see some cool restyling of their inline skate brand. The skates are pretty decent though. It's just a regular hard boot type freestyle inline skate, so I don't know why, but it only was 2% of our total sales, which is not a lot. A skate that I also expected more of was the Powerslide Bronx. This one is so super cheap and it's still pretty good. I would have guessed that it would have sold a lot more. One downside of this skate, and that might be the reason why it didn't sell, is also the short wheelbase. A skate this cheap will definitely be bought by beginners. And what beginners need more than anything is to be stable, because if you see people that are not skating a lot on skates, they're usually kind of unstable and actually afraid to fall. The wheelbase of this skate is so super short that I don't think that's really appealing for entry-level skaters. Then we have a newcomer, and this is the Powerslide Zoom. I really like the concept behind it because the basis of this skate is the same as one of the aggressive skates. Here it is. This one. So this is also the same shell, but it's from the USD brand. And I just like it a lot when the same mold is used for a freestyle skate and an aggressive skate. The worst thing about this skate is the way that it leans backwards. So there's like a raised heel in this boot, and normally the boot would need to be a lot higher at the back of the wheel than it is in the front of the wheel. But here actually I can fit my pinky on the front underneath it, and I can fit my pinky at the back underneath it. So the balance is just kind of off on this one, and you really notice this when you're skating. And I would think that Powerslide knows this as well, so I hope that they change this in future models. But it's definitely a reason why people don't buy it here in the store. Another big downside of this one, and also a lot of the other freestyle inline skates, is that the frame only comes in one size. So if you have big feet like me and you have a size 45, the frame that's on it is still like 4x80mm with the wheels as close to each other as possible. And for me, with my foot, that's just too short. And especially for skaters that are just coming here in the store, this just wouldn't work. A skate that's leaned so much backwards with such a short frame. That's the reason why we kind of like compromised on the beauty aspect for once, because this is one of the only 90mm wheelbase skates that we actually could find that were still decent. Too bad for the orange here, but if you're a size 45, this is still your best option, so that's why we had to have it in our arsenal as well. A skate that doesn't have this problem with the wheelbase is the Roaches FCO. Now this is a true classic. It's such a beautiful, beautiful skate, and it's 8% of our total sales within the freestyle inline skating category. It's just, man, it looks so good. And the nice thing is that this is obviously a very small size, and then the frame is super short. But if you buy like the really big size, then the frame also gets taller. So I love recommending this skate for beginners, because it's actually pretty low to the ground, and you see here that the room at the front is not that much, and the room in the back is a lot. So it's not the same as the Powerslide Zoom. Yeah, good job, Roaches. They could make the frame better by putting 8mm axles in there, and I hope that they improve it one day in the future. Also, the plastic is not as hard as the plastic that they use on their aggressive skates. So I also hope that they make kind of like a pro freestyle inline skate version of this one day. The third best-selling skate on the list with 13% is the Rollerblade Twister Edge. And the reason why is because when customers put it on here in the store and compare it to any other skate, it always feels a lot better for them. That's just not my perception, that's what all the customers always tell me. And that's why it sells super good. Then we have the Powerslide Imperial with 14%. It's the third most selling skate. It's really good skate and it's pretty cheap, so perfect, right? And then for the adult category, this is the best selling skate, but overall freestyle skates, it's the second best selling skate, and that's the Power Slide Next over there. It comes with 125mm, with 110mm, or with 80mm wheels. Unfortunately, the wheelbase always stays the same, no matter if you have a really small foot or a really big foot. But I think the biggest asset of this skate, the reason why it sells so good, is because it looks really cool. So good job, Power Slide. The best selling skate in the category freestyle inline skates is the rollerblade adjustable skates. Boom, there you are. It's the rollerblade Spitfire. It looks a lot like any of the other adjustable kid skates, but I see the difference when my students skate these or when they skate any of the other kid skates, is that they have so much more control on these than on, let's say, the Roaches kid skates or the K2 kid skates. It's hard to see the difference, but let me explain it. If I hold the toe of the skate in this hand really tight and then I pull on the top over here, there's not a lot of wiggle room. And that's what's actually happening when you stand on it. On a lot of the other skates, kids tend to stand either like that or like that, and it's hard for them to stay centered. With this one, the skate actually gives the support and kids stand up straight. So well done, rollerblade on your kid skates. We love them here and the kids love them. Then if you combine all that, the freestyle inline skates and the aggressive inline skate, you look at which one of the brands in total sold the most. The winner is Roaches, second up USD, third up Razors. So these three brands make up almost 60% of all the skates that we sell. The runner up is an independent company, as they like to say, and that's the Dem Skates with 9% of the total sales. After that, Rollerblade, FR, Seba, Fila, Remedies, and last one, Celtic, as the newcomer. Boom, that was it for skates. If you have any questions regarding skates, let me know. But now we're gonna move on to frames. There's a couple of different ways to put a frame on a skate boot. You have the universal frame system, or UFS, which is used on all the aggressive skates. You can see that they have a flat boot and there's two mounting screws over here to attach the frame to the skate. And for a skate like this, it has a raised heel, and then there's also two mounting holes. Another mounting standard is the Power Slide Trinity mount, and it has 3 mounting bolts. Weirdly enough, we offer all of these types of frames, but we only really sell the UFS frames in any decent amount of quantities. So I'm gonna only talk about UFS frames in this list. Aggressive inline skate frames have been kind of stable for a couple of years now. There's not a lot happening, so most of the frames on this list are actually pretty old frames already. There's a couple newcomers though. The Sola Street frame with 3% and the Kaiser Element 2 frame with 4% of the sales. So one of the few worst selling frames that we have is the Youth Airliner frame. And the Youth is a company from John Julio. His new skates are selling pretty good, but everybody just seemed to forgot about the frames, which were decent frames, but I don't know, somehow it's not cool to buy, I don't know. A few other frames on the list are the Kaiser Type M, the Celtic frames, the Freestyle frames from Kaiser, the Power Blade frames are out, the Ground Control Big frames not selling at all, and the Kaiser Trimax is also not selling at all. All those frames only have 1% of the sales. Then there are 3 independent frame companies that are doing pretty well. With independent, I mean that they're not just like a part of a bigger company, but it's just that they're one or a few guys that decided to make a cool product for our scene. And this is the 50/50 frame with 7%, the Great Original frame with 8%, and the Wish frame with 10%. Another frame that sold really well this year with the 8% is the Ground Control Ice Blade, which allows you to convert any of these UFS aggressive skate into a perfect aggressive ice skate. I have a whole video about how to convert your aggressive inline skates to aggressive ice skates. You can check that out on our YouTube page if you're interested in seeing more after watching this video. But the two best-selling frames of the year were both from Ground Control, with the second best-selling frame being the Ground Control Featherlight. It's a perfect sliding frame with a nice groove, and it now has metal spacers, and it comes stock with all the racer skates. And most people have tried racer skates at least once. If they did, then they probably skated the Featherlight, and they probably got used to skating the Featherlight. And then if they need a new frame, what are you gonna get? You're gonna get what you're used to, right? So I think that's the reason why. But the best-selling frame for us was something surprising, because it was the Ground Control 80mm metal frame. It now has a new name. It now goes under the name the HD frame, but before it was called the 6000 frame or the 6061 frame. It had like a few different names already, but all in all it's just the same frame. The beauty of this frame is that it comes in two sizes. So what I was complaining about with the frame length for the Freestyle inline skates before is not a factor in this frame, because on the bigger skates it actually comes with a bigger frame. This was due to my advice, because I already knew before they started to making it that they were gonna make it. So I told the guys at Sunshine, like, hey, please can you make it in a bigger size as well. This is also the frame that I'm using now myself when I cruise around the city. So good job, Ground Control. And now let's take a look at which one of the brands in total for all the frame companies had the most market share. So if you combine all the different frames per company, you see that Ground Control is owning them all. They have 45% market share for the frames, and this is insane. Before I did all these calculations, I didn't even know this, so I was so super surprised. The runner-up is Kaiser, and this is also a big frame company because they're owned by Powerslide, and they come stock in all the USD skates. The number 3 is surprising because it's the Wish company. They have a fairly new product out, and it's kind of a special frame because it has bigger wheels on the outside and smaller wheels on the inside, and it allows you to have like a really big groove to grind on, and yet still going pretty fast because of the big wheels. Now let's move on to wheels, and after that, bearings. So if you make a list of all the wheel sizes that we sold this year with the percentages of the sales, you get this. And I was surprised about it that we sold so much 58 and 59mm wheels still, because I actually thought that we only sold 60mm by now, because that's also what we always recommend people. Just get like the biggest size wheel that fits in your frame. That's kind of like the mentality. Another big surprise was the 72mm with 10%, which is a lot. Where are these people using them for? I think in the Wish frame. And the big disappointment for me was how few 84 and 90mm wheels we sold, because that's the size that I use on my skates. And I actually think that people with my size feet should skate something down the line like an 84 or 90mm wheel size if they are commuting through the city, which a lot of people do. So that has to mean that these people are skating on 80mm wheels if they're doing this. Please consider buying a slightly bigger wheel, people, come on. If you now look at the list of the wheels per brand, I noticed something funny on it, because the brands that are not selling so well are all fairly new and independent wheel brands. These are Red Eye, Compass, 50/50, Caltic and Symmetrics, and also FR wheels. They're all pretty new in the wheel manufacturing game, and I think people just like to have a wheel maybe that they can like trust and know is a good wheel, because they maybe had bad experiences with wheels in the past. That being said, there's one brand that's also fairly new and that innovated something, and they did a really good job because they had 6% of the market share, and this was the famous brand, and they introduced us to wheels with a metal core. Something that is super normal within scooter wheels has now transferred to inline skating. I didn't realize how many Hyper wheels we sold. Hyper is a brand that's been around since the 90s, and the ones that we sold for this 10% are all really old vintage wheels. But we sold them super cheap, so that's why we sold a lot of them, and it makes up 10%. It's so much. Then the third best-selling brand is Gods. Gods is owned by Frankie Morales, but the co-owner is also Powerslide, which is also the owner of the number one selling brand, which is Undercover. Undercover has 21% market share. If you combine that with Powerslide, you get 33, which is 1/3 of all the wheels that we sold are from the Powerslide brand. That's so much. They own wheel manufacturing, basically, within inline skating. They're the boss. Congrats, guys. Super cool. And number 2 is Go Project with 15% market share. Also, good job. Really cool. I like the color gray of the wheels, and that's a really smart marketing choice to have like all your wheels in one color, and it has a really distinct look. Now let's move on to skate bearings. Let's see who owns the market over there. So here's the list of all the skate bearing brands that we sell, and the number one selling bearing for us at This Is Soul is our Euro bearings. We sell bearings for €1 a piece at our store here in Amsterdam and also on our web shop. If you're not looking for a specific brand because you don't know any specific brand or you don't know the difference, which is super hard and complicated anyway, people just tend to buy a bearing for €1, and then it's fine. They'll roll pretty good, and if they stop rolling, just buy a new one because they're super cheap. If you take this one out and you just look at the real brands that sell bearings, you'll get this list over here. Number 3 being Go Project, number 2 Blackjack, and number 3 Titan with 21%. Congratulations, guys. So I have one more stat that I want to share with you, and that is not what we sold but to whom we sold our stuff. These are only the stats for the people that actually made an account, and it shows a list of the number of accounts, so not how many orders those people place. Obviously, because we're a Dutch store, most of our customers are from the Netherlands, and they make up 50% of our customer base. So thank you, guys. Now, to compare the other countries better, I'll just take the Netherlands off of the list. We have a list of all the other countries that we ship to with our web shop. I like it that there are so many like foreign countries that are super far away on it, like the United Arab Emirates, South Korea, Romania, and Peru, Japan, China, Brazil. Shout out to all of you. Thank you so much for all the orders. Then for the countries that actually have a big percentage of orders, those are, funny enough, Australia, Israel, Hong Kong, and the United States. So that's super cool because they're all super far away, and I've never been in any of these countries, but yet people are ordering from our web shop. So that's super cool. The top 5 countries that we export to are all in the European Union, which makes a lot of sense to me, of course. And these are number 5, Spain with 6%, Italy with 6%, Germany with 9%, Belgium with 15%, and the country that we sell to the most outside of the Netherlands is the United Kingdom. So thank you, guys in the UK. I'd just like to thank everybody for all your orders at thisissoul.com this year. Without all of you, all this information here would be absolutely zero. So without you, we cannot survive, of course. I had a great year this year. This was the first year that I started vlogging, and I'm super grateful for all the responses that I got, all the comments to the video, and everybody who shared the videos. I want to thank the This Is All Skate team, Jaro, Jelle, Erik, Pascal and Martin. Then I have one thing I want to share with you before I go. Actually, the perfect ending of this year for me is that one of my personal dreams have almost become a reality now, and that is to open our own skate park. We found a really small location somewhere indoor in Amsterdam, and we're gonna rent it together with 20 guys, and we're gonna build a super small mini indoor skate park. I'm super excited about that, and this week we're gonna sign the lease and pay the deposit, and then we're gonna start building. We will need loads of help for this project, so if you are willing to put in some time for your love of the sport, please let me know, and we're gonna build a beautiful community here in Amsterdam. So that was it. That was my 2019. It couldn't have ended better with the skate park. And again, thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you guys for watching all the others. If you enjoyed watching this video, then take a look at our YouTube channel. You'll find loads of videos like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Hey guys, welcome back. Hey guys, for the aggressive skating.